So, welcome everyone. Today we are meeting with Mike Floyd, the CEO at Thinkforces Advisory, with a great deal of expertise, especially in the financial industry. And today we are sitting with Mike. Welcome. Welcome, Mike, to the show.
Thanks, Alina.
Uh, I would like to ask you actually a couple questions. So everyone is discussing about AI. Are we in an AI bubble? Is this a hype, or is this something real that we are going to be seeing much more? And I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts about the future for AI in 2026, in particular for the banking and financial sector?
Sure. Thanks very much for having me on your YouTube channel. Very much appreciated. And yeah, a little bit of background about Thinkforces. Thinkforces are made up of a group of individuals who have expertise in several areas, really. And Paul Giavadi, who is the president of Thinkforces Advisory Group, and myself, we started Thinkforces because we saw in the marketplace there was an opportunity to be able to help some of the smaller players, not necessarily the major banks or some of the major credit union, but who generally go to some of the larger consulting firms and pay a lot of money for the contracts. We think we can be very much more cost effective in helping some of these smaller players, particularly the credit unions, and our values are very much aligned with the credit union system, both in North America and globally. And I think to answer your question, you're referring to what you see in the press a lot about the AI bubble. And I think that's a lot to do with the stock exchange and the valuation that's given to NVIDIA. And when people are paying something like $40,000 per chip to be able to put these into their data centers and start running AI effectively, I think that's essentially where the AI bubble is that people are talking about. And it may be a bubble. It may be continue in its momentum for several years. Very hard to say and predict on that one, like with a lot of stock exchange observations. But I think in terms of the marketplace and the actual use of AI, we're going to see a lot more proliferation in that in a useful way. There's so many use cases out there. And one of the challenges, a lot of the enterprises are struggling with the application of AI. And I think it's really one of these fear of missing out, the FOMO aspect of things, that everyone wants AI, but they don't necessarily know where they're going to use it. And so the challenge is to really sort of look at the different workflows that an organization has and ask the question, can these be optimized in some fashion? And if AI is the answer to help with that optimization, then that's the useful use case to explore. And like every initiative, at this time of year, a lot of people have gone through their planning processes, budget allocations for 2026. And I think that's why in 2026, beginning with the first quarter, we're going to see a lot of initiatives start. Whether they'll be launched before the end of 2026 depends, really. Depends on the scale. And really, when someone's making a list of how can AI help them, they need to first of all look at the prioritization of the different initiatives. What is the biggest bang for the buck in terms of value in the case of credit unions to their membership? Does it serve them better? Will it provide processes that are more efficient from the member's perspective, a smoother relationship? Does it replace the human aspect or does it enhance the human aspect? And we think that there's a lot of places where the human aspect, the people that serve the members in the credit unions, can be supported by better systems, better workflows for their memberships. So I think that's primarily the main opportunity, and we would definitely like to be able to help with those strategies on implementing successful AI strategies in that vein.
That does make sense. Banks, insurance, credit unions, logistics firms, they are deploying AI agents, agentic solutions, those that perform multi-step tasks and interact with systems. Potentially, they integrate into those processes. Sometimes they are augmenting employees. Sometimes they are unfortunately replacing human tasks. And the bubble, we might be in a partial bubble for sure, for sure. And this is something that we are seeing as well. But definitely, this is not speculative. We have got full-blown enterprise transformations underway right now. And 2026 is going to be a very interesting year for financial institutions. We have got AI infrastructure and demand for that compute, for the GPUs, for that energy infrastructure. At the same time, you have a bit of that shortage, even talent. It's very difficult to find the right talent to execute on all of these things. But massive productivity gains, and we are already seeing AI shaping those areas from underwriting, fraud detection, computing, IT operations, backend operations. So, where do you feel that is going to be one of those areas of focus for 2026?
Yeah, very, very interesting that you asked that. That I note in your observations of where it can be applied, fraud detection. I actually published an article on LinkedIn this morning referencing that and looking at fraud detection. This is particularly an area because fraud and scams, particularly, are on the rise. And we've seen that throughout Canada and the US. And it's a big problem from some of the small players who maybe don't have the same sort of scale of infrastructure to be able to support the larger fraud detection groups and also anti-money laundering. So I think this is where AI can play a significant role in being able to assist the detection of both scams, be able to monitor activity in members' accounts for credit unions, and look at, in general, the different activities and make a sound judgment. This is using AI to make a judgment and produce an exception list, if you like, that then can be either handled by humans or can put a block on an account automatically due to unusual activity, which can then be to safeguard the member and safeguard the account that is under attack, if you like, so that a human can come in, make a secondary judgment on top of that, and decide whether it should be released or whether it should be continued and reported to the client, so that in particular, a lot of these scams are on the elderly and the vulnerable in our society. And anything that we can do to protect them is worthwhile activity. And I think this is where we're going to see some of the new initiatives come in particular on the payment side of things, where you're seeing automated payments going through, where you're going to see fraud detection going through on some of the credit cards, the Interact system, and by and large, being able to monitor activity in a much more real-time but productive sense.
Funny that you mentioned that cybersecurity attacks have gone through the roof since AI. They are much more sophisticated now. Also, there is now evidence of self-adapting malware that writes code and adapts, and the attack becomes much more sophisticated. It has gone definitely beyond your anti-money laundering and customer consumer fraud. Now we are seeing full-blown attacks on systems, and with AI, these are becoming much more difficult. Much more difficult to detect, much more difficult to manage. So those risks are definitely there. Another concern is that personal information. I don't know if you have seen that, those new glasses that came out from Ray-Ban and Meta. That is interesting. You just put them on, take a look, and there you go. If you put your personal information out there,
Yeah.
you're going to be able to grab just about any public information out there, publicly available information. And that is much more challenging. So, according to recent reports, over 90% of American banks are using AI to detect fraud.
Right.
And I suspect maybe even higher. Almost every financial institution is attempting to identify those risky situations, but it's getting much more difficult to do because the types of scams are also becoming much more sophisticated. And there are many reports out there that are adopting and developing these solutions. But this technology for sure is advancing. And in 2026, we are definitely going to see more AI, more agentic AI, AI for good. Unfortunately, we also have got those bad players, as you mentioned. And I'm definitely going to check out your article on LinkedIn. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. And if you have any final words or recommendations for our audience.
Yeah, well, I would speak directly to the credit unions, actually. And that is really the criminal element that are perpetrating the frauds and the scams, etc. They're already using AI extensively to be able to mimic voices, to capture information, even to produce photoreal images that may assist in them committing their crimes. And it's imperative that the use of AI be utilized to fight these smart criminals, if I can call them that, who are already using AI to perpetrate the crimes and being able to successfully fight them. There's an opportunity here, and I think it's a time-sensitive window in which they can implement these types of measures to help their membership, the credit union members, etc., and any clients in for any financial institution really be successful and be protected.
So thank you, Mike. It was great to have you with us today.
You're
And
welcome.
thank you so much for your interesting perspective. And AI is definitely something that is providing a lot of opportunity, lots of growth, lots of value. At the same time, there are risks. And I believe we are definitely going to see more around that governance side of things.
Totally agree.
And when you are in a financial institution, do check us out and follow us on LinkedIn and our website www.aifutureleaders.com. And I thank you, Mike, for joining us today.
Great. You're welcome. Thanks very much for having me.
Thank you.